and welcome to this week's episode of Impacted. And as usual, I am joined by my co-host, my brother from another mother. He is the yin to my yang, coming to us from the empty space of his mind and the void. He is the Joker.
Welcome, Brother Bison. I knew you'd come.
Quality. I like it. Very good. Very good. I like it, my brother. I like it. So what do you think of that intro?
My eyes are stinging from not blinking for so long.
You didn't know how long it was going to be, did you? But it was a good one, right?
Oh, it was a good one.
Good. Were you popping? You're popping for it. Were you marking out, baby? Were you marking out for that? I thought that was a good intro. I'm not sure I'm going to top that one. You're definitely my yin. There's no doubt about that. So it's all good. Okay. So anyway, don't forget, guys, give us a thumbs up. Leave us some great comments before obviously heading over to the Total Nonstop Impact channel to give us a sub and smash the bell before checking out all the great content that is on offer over there. Now, today, Joe, we are reviewing Turning Point.
Oh, yes, we are.
It was a great show, wasn't it? It was a great show.
It wasn't as blurry away as Victory Road or Bound for Glory, but it was a solid show for me, and yeah. I did enjoy it. There's not a lot to complain about.
It was definitely pay-per-view quality, I think. We're getting these pay-per-view quality shows every single month now, aren't we? As well as then the big pay-per-views as well on top of that. So I think this is obviously, like I say, Victory Road was the start of it. I think Victory Road blew us away a little bit. We weren't expecting that. So now everything's got to live up to that, right?
Oh yeah, Victory Road set the standard of what we want to see from the Impact Plus app specials now, and they'll get there again. What the best thing they're doing is they, like we said last week, they're carrying the storylines forward through it now again, like they tried to do with, when they launched it in the first place.
Yeah, but it wasn't working at that point. But I think now it's almost like it's a super show, isn't it? Yeah. It's like you get the weekly show and then you get like the super show. So I think it's working really, really well. However, before we get to reviewing that properly, Joe, we've got a couple of interesting items that we want to touch base on first. Now, I've got some notes here, so we're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through this, brother. So, first thing I want to hit on is a bit of sad news. Obviously, we've got the departure of the Rascals. I just want to talk about how they've handled this. I know it's a bit sad for you. It's a bit sad for me. We were both big fans of the Rascals. I don't think this is goodbye. I just think this is, until we meet again. I'm pretty sure that the boys will be back. They clearly love the promotion, so I'm sure they're going to be back. But what I wanted to talk about more than anything else is the fact that for the past 2 weeks, and certainly the last week running up to last night, this past week's Impact, the way that they've sort of kind of said goodbye to them. What are your thoughts on the way that they've done this?
They've reminded everybody that Impact Wrestling was their home. The Rascals have done, and Impact Wrestling's also put it across, remade them what they are, and that Impact's not doing it by bragging. The Rascals are giving them full praise for it, and I think the way they've involved them, like we talked about it before we came on, it does have me. I don't think they're going to be gone for good. I think when they're going to go to, I think the rumors are they're going to go to WWE, but when they finish there, there's a high chance that they'll come back to Impact Wrestling or go on to elsewhere. But I don't think we're going to see this is the last we'll see of the Rascals in the future.
No, the rumor is that they're going to WWE, or the rumor is that they've got an offer on the table from WWE. That doesn't mean that they haven't got an offer on the table from AEW, MLW, or anybody else. The trouble is, where do you see the Rascals fitting in on WWE?
I don't.
And I don't either. And that this is the thing. Certainly, the gimmick that they have sort of kind of built for themselves now, you're not going to see that in WWE. They're not going to be in a treehouse. They're not going to be insinuating that they're smoking the pot. It's just not going to be happening because they're a 12 or PG product. Or whatever you want to call it. So you're not going to see that kind of stuff on there. So it's going to be interesting where they take them. And I hope they don't just turn them into this like, the Rugrats or the kind of the skater boys, the skater boys or something like that. I don't know. Just if that's what happens to them. There's lots of things that they can do. I mean, we're automatically assuming that that's where they, it's WWE. That's the contract that's on the table. Maybe they're going to New Japan.
That would be a great place for them to go. Or
nobody has mentioned New Japan, right? So there's lots of things. I mean, are the Rascals kind of almost, there's something that I wanted to talk about actually. I've always wanted to mention this, like like in the like in American football, you've got the trade, where they sort of kind of like trade players and and all that kind of stuff. Why can't you do that in wrestling? Why couldn't Ring of Honor? Why can't NLW, AEW, Impact, New Japan, whatever? Why can't they just trade amongst themselves? Say, I tell you what, we've got a great storyline for Chris Jericho, AEW, right? This is what we're thinking of doing. Is there any chance that we can have him for 6 months? And I'll tell you what, in return, you could have the Rascals, or in return, you could have the Good Brothers.
Yeah, a lot of it now is down to marketing and merchandise and the production backstage. But if Chris Jericho made a short-term appearance when we thought he was going to come in, when he was hyping up the Cruiser Jericho, we could have had him come and do a short stint with Sami Callihan.
Yeah.
Sami Callihan was calling him out, so he could come in and done a couple of like Cody Rhodes did when he was with Ring of Honor. He came in, did a short stint, and went off to Japan for a while, and then he built up AEW. That's
what I'm saying. It's sort of kind of there's always, I don't know. I just feel that maybe that's something that is in the offing, because we're starting to see so much more. We're starting to see collaboration with New Japan. We're starting to see Impact and AEW mentioning each other's brands in a positive light on their shows, and I think it's interesting to see how far that can go. It really is. But from my perspective, I'm sorry to see them go. They've been an amazing part of Impact Wrestling for the past 2 years. They've pretty much been on our telly like every week for the past 2 years. Regardless of whether they've won titles or they've won every single match, I don't think that matters. What matters is that they've had the spotlight for 2 years, right? Which means that at the end of the day, the boys, are doing something right. They clearly love being there, and I think what you saw, or what we've been seeing from them in recent weeks is raw emotion. It's real, and all I'd like to say is thank you, Rascals. It's been a great ride, and I look forward to seeing where your career goes, and I look forward to seeing you back on Impact sometime in the future.
Yeah, I'd like to echo that. I saw Zach and Trey shedding tears in the ring this morning. I was doing the same.
It's just a shame. It is a real shame. I know that you especially are a big fan of the Rascals, and you really, you are quite upset at this time. But let's just wish them all the best. And let's hope that everything goes well for them. That's all that we can do, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got no gripes against them leaving. I felt the same way when Santana and Ortiz left. I'm glad that they went there. They made a name for themselves and they moved on. It's what Scott D'Amore and Don Keller said they do when they took over the company. That they're there to make people famous, and then let them go when they want to go. And
exactly,
the Rascals and Santana and Ortiz, they saw their contracts out through to the end with no complaints or anything. They just got over with everybody and stayed over with everybody, and look where they are now.
Yeah, they moved on, and they're doing well for themselves. I honestly believe again we'll see LAX back in Impact at some point. I mean, look at that. I mean, there's something that could be done. Let's trade. You could trade them for, bring in someone like, LAX back. There's all sorts of things that we can do. There's so many things that can happen if you just work together and just sort of kind of, it's all about the greater good, right? It's all about the greater good. Every show is a wrestling show. Let's make every show good, right? And if WWE don't want to be part of that, then screw them.
Well,
Yeah,
they got the invite to go on the Jericho cruise, and Vince McMahon turned it down.
Well, there you go. Exactly. So, they're not interested unless they're making ridiculous amounts of money out of it. They're not interested. Okay, but that's that. That said, good luck, guys. Thank you for all the hard work you've put in at Impact over the last 2 years. It's been fantastic to watch, and we wish you all the best. So, moving on, we've got the Knockout Tag Title Tournament. Now, this past week on Impact, it got started, and we saw the Tenille Dashwood and Alicia Edwards take on Nevaeh and Havoc. So we now know that Havoc and Nevaeh are moving forward. Killer Death Machines are moving forward to the next round. So, which is potentially the semi-final. So that's fantastic. I believe. Did they? I'm not sure they mentioned who was going to be in the mix for next week. Did they? I don't think they did. So I'm interested to see who it turns out to be next week. I'm assuming it'll probably be someone like Giana, Perazo, Kimberly, and Taya Rosemary. Maybe. I think that'll probably be the next match, and between those two, we'll see who moves forward. Who have you got as your sort of kind of like pick, mate? Who have you got for your pick for the tournament?
I'm backing Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz all the way.
Yeah.
But if they don't win the titles, then it's going to be Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a real tough one. It's a real tough one. I think for me, I mentioned it on Twitter this week already. I think the final is going to be Nevaeh, Havoc versus Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz. I think Kiera and Tasha are going to steal it.
Yeah,
however,
that's the ideal one for me too.
I think so. I think that's the ideal narrative that we're looking at the moment. However, it would not surprise me if Impact did a swerve and it ended up being Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie. But it's interesting how that one's going to pan out. Now, okay, what I wanted to also do, I want to just quickly talk about some of the new names to the knockouts that have turned up on this on this tournament. Now, the first one, which is interesting because it's one that I've been pushing for several weeks now, and that is Killa K. Now, I wasn't massive on her background, so I decided to go and do a little bit of checking up on all of these guys that are coming in. So I don't know if you're aware, but Killa K is actually from Portugal. She's been wrestling now on the wrestling scene since 2016. She did have a stint with WWE from 2018 to 2020, and that was on NXT UK brand. Also competed in the Mae Young Classic, and she was released in 2020. I think she was part of the whole pandemic release thing.
Yeah.
Kelly also she competed regularly for Westside Extreme Wrestling and Progress. Now, I believe both of those promotions are tied to the WWE. So, but she's also obviously on the many indie promotions now. And obviously prior to her WWE stint, she had 2 years on the indie scene. So, she's quite a well-established pro wrestler. So, and like I said, I've seen some of her matches, and I'm really looking forward to seeing her in an Impact ring. Do you know much about Killa K, Joe?
I knew she was a Portuguese wrestler, and I knew she was on NXT UK. I've not seen a lot of her matches, but I knew she was on NXT UK because I've seen like some of the highlights and that come up once or twice. And for her to come from WWE to Impact Wrestling, Impact Wrestling is a good place to really show what you can do, and
especially as a female, right?
Yeah, especially as a for women's wrestlers, they come there and they go flat out. You look at Giana, Perazo and Su Yung did on Saturday.
Yeah, that was phenomenal, wasn't it? Absolutely phenomenal. We'll get to that in a minute, though, Joe. Calm down. So the next one that we see, so her tag partner, so Killa K's tag partner, is going to be a wrestler by the name of Rennie Michelle. Now, she hails from Washington, D.C. She's been wrestling since 2013. She competed for Maryland Championship Wrestling, East Coast Wrestling Association, Wrestling Extreme. She was also part of WWE from 2014 to 2017, appearing on Raw and competing in the Mae Young Classic. She's a very, very popular indie wrestler right now.
Yeah.
You know, so do you know much about Renee?
I've heard the name before as well, and I think I saw her match on the Mae Young Classic as well. I can't remember if she was on the first one. If she was, and I think I've seen her. I saw the first one that with Tessa Blanchard and Mia Yim and Jessie Gabbett in.
Yeah. So I think she went out in either the first or the second round in the Mae Young Classic. But you know, again, a very, very solid. A very, very solid wrestler. It would be interesting. Again, a lot of experience. You know, she's been around. So pairing her with Killa K is going to be interesting to see how that. I mean, I'm assuming they know each other fairly well. As obviously they have sort of kind of like been around. You know, they probably from the Mae Young Classic they would know each other especially. So it'd be interesting to see how those two pan out. Now, the other team, and I've never heard of these guys at all. They're called the Sea Stars. They are actually an established tag team, female tag team, independent female tag team, and they are Ashley Vox and Delmi Exo. Now, they've been a tag team since 2015. So, and in that time they've also been Shimmer Tag Champs. So I don't think these guys are anything to be sneezed at. You know, I mean, you know, if they were Shimmer Tag Champs, they obviously got something about them. So it's going to be interesting to see how they pan out as well. But yeah, the Sea Stars. So I'm looking forward to seeing them. So and at the other end of the spectrum, we've also still awaiting to be announced who's going to be Jordan Grace's partner. Now, I'm going to stand by this. I think they played it down on social media, but I believe it's LuFisto.
Yeah, a lot of people are calling for LuFisto, and I am too. I think it'll be a big shock. You know, we got a lot of relatively unknown talent coming in, but they're established wrestlers and very experienced wrestlers, especially the Sea Stars. So if LuFisto came in with Jordan Grace, they've been a tag team in the past, and they've won titles together. So it would be the perfect match with Jordan Grace, because she's not been able to get anyone to work with her properly.
No, exactly. So I think it's interesting that one is going to be interesting for sure. And I don't know whether they're going to. I mean, they're obviously playing it up that it's someone fairly big. Otherwise, they wouldn't be holding it back.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how this one pans out. The fact that Jordan's ringing her up, which happened this past week on Impact. Jordan is ringing her up. She's talking to her on the phone, asking her to be her tag partner, but she doesn't reveal who it is. So they're bigging it up. So it's got, the fact that they're bigging it up, it must mean whoever it is a bit of a name, and we're going to be, pleased to see them, I think.
Yeah.
So I still believe it's LuFisto. If it's not, I mean, it could be someone like Kelly Klein, maybe. Who was the Ring of Honor Women's Champion. So I don't know. Maybe even I don't know, Sienna. Maybe.
Yes. Sienna and Marty Bell have both recently left NWA. So I think they could make an appearance in Impact Wrestling as a tag team
at some point
in the future.
Yeah, I think there's a few of them that are out there at the moment. Sienna, like I said, could possibly be that partner. She would fit in, I think, with Jordan quite well. She's a tall, big lady, big, strong woman. I think that that one could be interesting. I'm just trying to think of anyone else who could potentially be that person that would be more of a wow, this is a great person to have come back or whatever. I mean, there is Taylor Wilde, but I'm not sure. I actually thought we would see Taylor Wilde come back in this tournament. In the moment, it still could happen because we don't know who Jordan was talking to on the phone from this past week's Impact. So it's going to be interesting to see who that pans out and who that turns out to be. So Okay, so that pretty much is the two main things that we were, needed to talk about from a sort of kind of news and rumors point of view. And I like I said, Joe, I think we've got one hell of a few weeks and leading up, or a few months now, leading up to Hard to Kill. I think it's going to be a very, very interesting. I'm looking forward to talking more about this tag team tournament. Are you?
Oh, I'm really excited for this tournament. It's been a while since I've seen a tournament come up on Impact. You don't know who's going to come out on top.
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
so
sorry,
this is just it's just great to see that Scott D'Amore finally caved into all the fans involved. Well, I say he gave them what he wanted. He didn't cave in really, but I just like to take a jab.
I think this was always the plan. I think it's always the plan. I think they'd hinted towards it, and then the fans run with it. And then of course, that then said, okay, they want this. So because I think they hinted it, the fans were like, oh my god, yeah, this is going to be really, really cool. So then the fans pushed it like crazy. That then tells Impact management, okay, this is going to be good. The fans want to see this. This is going to work. Let's do it.
They started hinting it back in last year. Tessa Blanchard and Jordan Grace and Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary were hinting it.
Yeah, I think all I know is I think we're going to enjoy talking about this over the next couple of weeks. That's for sure. Okay, so let's get on. Turning Point, my friend. Turning Point review. So overall, I thought this was a great show. I thought, like I said, I think it wasn't quite as strong as Victory Road, but I do believe it was still a really, really good show. And certainly for an Impact Plus show, it was fantastic. Let's get into the matches, though, mate, because we need to talk about our bragging rights, don't we? So, and I'm quite looking forward to getting to the end to find out who is the winner of the bragging rights. So, let's go with the first match. Eddie Edwards versus Davari. Now, the eventual winner was Eddie Edwards. What did you think of this match?
Oh, Eddie Edwards once again took a hell of a beating.
At times he did, didn't he?
I thought the way Davari was really impressive. I've never seen him wrestle before, so he was really impressive. And well, it might be just a one-off appearance here. It'd be good to see if he carries on making a couple of appearances while the year comes to an end. But the way he threw Eddie Edwards around and the way Eddie Edwards just kept trying to get some offense on him was incredible.
I mean, the bottom line is the guy is built like a brick shithouse, right?
Yeah.
He's massive. He is so stacked. He's not got an ounce of fat on him. He looks way better now than he did in his first run. He was pretty solid then, but now he's massive. He's just a huge dude, and he was able to stand toe to toe with Eddie. I mean, we all know that Eddie Edwards is one tough son of a bitch, and he welcomes a chop.
Yeah.
He welcomes a stiff forearm to the face. So bottom line is I think that. It was a really, really good match. I think it was inevitable that Eddie was going to win. As I said, in the preview, for me, there's no way that Eddie was going to lose this match. But if he was going to lose it, the only reason would be that Davari was maybe getting involved in some kind of heel faction of some sort. Yeah. Now I believe that's not going to be the case. I think this is probably, we may see Davari do the odd appearance. I've heard that effectively he was actually called in more of a producer role within the company. So I'm not sure whether he's signed as a producer for Impact Wrestling now with the odd appearance here and there. I don't know, but it'd be interesting to see whether it does go any further. But he certainly did his job. He made Eddie look strong in the end, and he also had a good go himself, which was great. But yeah, so it was a good solid win for Eddie Edwards, and it was a good match, wasn't it?
It was a very good match.
Yeah. We then moved on to match 2. Now, match 2 was Tennille and Jordan Grace versus Taya and Rosemary. Now, basically, Tenille is never gonna gel with anyone, is she?
No.
Like, bottom line is Tenille is all about her. She's got me written all over her trunks. The bottom line is, she's not a tag team wrestler, is she?
No, it's all about her. It's ego versus everything else, but she's really putting herself over now, a lot better than she did when she came in. And I said it last week as well. She really changed my opinion on what she can do. She is a good wrestler, but her charisma and her character in general has just built up massively since she's come back, and it's just so fun to watch her stand up the ring, pose for everybody else, and just completely just take her attention away. And the way they started the match off with her and Rosemary creeping up behind her, I had me. You just waited to don't turn around, and then bang.
She was getting in for. I think Rosemary was going in for what do they call it when you. What they call it when you sort of kind of jump in the photograph? I don't know.
Photobomb.
Photobomb. That's it. I think she was photobombing at that point. Now it's interesting because I think that I'm not a massive fan of Tenille Dashwood. I don't know how to say it. Without Caleb with a K, it still wouldn't work.
No, I agree.
It still wouldn't be working. I think for me, it's Caleb that's making this work. Without Caleb, Tenille would still be the same Tenille, and she still wouldn't be getting over it, in my opinion. I understand that you bring in someone like Tenille onto the roster, is about getting eyes on the product. She's going to promote it via her social media, where she's got there's like 3 million followers or something across all of her social media. That is true. That's not a lie. She really does have. I think she's got something like 2.5 million just on Twitter. So, it's the same reason why I said that, maybe like a Matt Cardona could be brought in, because again, you start getting someone like Matt Cardona promoting Impact on his Twitter, on his social media, people are gonna see it, right? So, I kind of get it. I do. I kind of get it, but I just don't. I just can't get into her. I just cannot get into her at all.
Yeah, it's where is she going to go? Once this part of her character ends?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know what more we're going to get from her. To be honest, I'm just glad to that she's not ended up with Jordan Grace. I think she would probably end up dragging Jordan down, as she clearly did in this match, right? Jordan lost because Tenille was such a bad partner, right?
Jordan Grace's reaction every time Tenille Dashwood wasn't in the match. You could see it. I was expecting her to just go out the ring and lamp her herself.
Yeah, she was getting very annoyed, wasn't she? She was getting proper annoyed in the match. There was nothing particularly wrong. I thought the match was pretty good. I enjoyed. Taya and Rosemary, they are a great team, aren't they?
Well, fantastic.
You
wouldn't have thought about 3 years ago they were trying to kill each other.
No, exactly, yeah. But no, the bottom line is these guys are a good team. I think they are a good fit for potentially winning the tournament eventually, or certainly getting into the final. It'd be interesting to see how they do. I think the big shock would be them losing to Kimberly and Giana Perazo in that first round. Could you imagine?
Yeah, that'd be a big shock for me.
That would be a huge shock. But then I'm still not sure she's going to win it, because I honestly think that there's more for Taya Rosemary. I know that both their contracts are coming to an end sort of the early part of next year. I still think that Rosemary's got a title push in her. I believe that she's going to create some sort of kind of faction again. And a Decay style thing going on. And that's where that's going to go. She'll end up trying to regain the knockouts title. I think that's where she's going to go. So if she does it, if Taya and Rosemary go out of this tournament, that's where I think it's going. Hopefully they'll move forward. It'd be nice for Kimberly to get the belt. But Giana doesn't need it. She's already got the knockouts title. She doesn't need the extra stress, in my opinion. So I don't know, but what I do believe is that this was a really, really, solid match for Ty and Rosemary.
Definitely, it showcased what they can do as a team a lot more than we've seen during the weeks.
Yeah, and I also think that this should have been the opening match as well.
I thought it was going to be the opening match. I thought Eddie Edwards and Davari was going to be the third or fourth match on the card.
Yeah, so did I. I thought the Davari match, the Eddie Edwards would have been third match, and I thought it would be like the tag, this match, maybe the Swaggle match, and then Eddie and Davari match. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or maybe the beer guns and Triple XL would have been in there, and then the Davari and Eddie Edwards match. I'm not sure, but all I know is I was surprised that the Tenille and Grace Tyre Rosemary one wasn't the opening match, but it wasn't. It was still a great match. It was a great match. It was a really good match. Made Tyre and Rosemary look strong. Made Tenille look like it's all about her. Screwed over Jordan. Jordan Grace still hasn't got a tag partner at this moment. So that forwards the story as well. So that all worked. We then moved into Cody Deaner is still pissed that he lost to Johnny Swinger. We had cousin Jake say, we need to find him. We need to redeem our names. Basically, they were going to go after Swinger and redeem their names because Cody just could not believe that he lost to Johnny Swinger. Can you believe it, Joe?
I was surprised. For Cody Deaner said it was a career low. I think there's in other companies there's a much more lower place you can go than losing to Johnny Swinger. The way he was so pissed off with Jake for not having his back, and Jake's trying to just say, I've got this match coming. Cody was so angry. I was honestly expecting Medina to just fall out and part ways.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because they're angry in a sort of comedic way.
Yeah.
So it's sort of kind of like, no, I love these guys. I think the Deaners are a great team. I think they're great characters, and I really love it. It's great to see that. So it's interesting to see where that was going to go, and of course we will find out a little bit later on. So we then move on to the third match, which was Myers versus Swaggle. Now, I know that this got a lot of stick on the socials, didn't it?
Yeah, well, people are always going to be whinge about this match, so it was to be expected.
I mean, bottom line is, Swaggle is a veteran. He's a veteran wrestler. I know that a lot of the TV stuff that you see that has been seen of Swaggle has always been sort of kind of a little bit comedic. But he is actually a good wrestler. Excuse me, Joe. My voice is going a bit funny there.
It's okay.
So I was, I always thought the way that they built this up was that it was about Swaggle proving that actually he's not just a comedy wrestler, he can actually do the job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The promo he gave after Bound for Glory summed it up really. He came back to Impact Wrestling to prove he's no joke.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we saw that. I mean, don't get me wrong. At the end of the day, he's still a midget wrestler against Myers, who is like I compare it to Swaggle. He's massive, and he really, he's like 3 times his height. So and he's a big, strong dude, very agile in the ring. But I thought Swaggle had a really good go at it, didn't he? He had a really good go at it.
Yeah, he took a hell of a beating.
Yeah, I mean, I've forgotten what they call the splash that he does. It's the
tadpole splash.
Tadpole splash as well. That was really good. I mean, bottom line is that I think, it was a solid match. It just so happened that Swaggle's a small person.
Yeah, he's Impact Wrestling, as he put it, is the island of misfit toys. Exactly. And then there's no better person to have your back. As the match ended, we saw the beatdown continue. Then what misfit toy did we see come?
Crazy Steve, baby.
Crazy the clown.
Steve. I mean, Crazy Steve comes in to save. Obviously Myers wins the match. He wins the match, and then he continues to beat down on Swaggle unnecessarily. There was no need for it. And then, of course, like you say, Crazy Steve makes a save, comes out. That sort of kind of like sets up a match for this past week on Impact, which was a good match. But it was right. But is it almost kind of like playing into the whole, I don't know, menagerie style thing? So, we've got the crazy clown, we've got the midget, we need the freak, and we need, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what is that? Was that playing into that a little bit, do you think?
But now that you've mentioned it, I think it probably could do. I hope this isn't the last we'll see a Swaggle. I hope that him and Crazy Steve do start working together now, because I didn't expect anyone to come out and help him. I expected it'd be security to come out and break it up. So when Crazy Steve came down, that was a big pop for me, just to see Crazy Steve come down, and it's good to see he's keeping himself relevant as well, because he's been a bit off the picture a bit more since someone shot Bravo, and we've not really seen Crazy Steve much since then. So
exactly. So I think it was great. This past week on Impact, he had a fantastic match with Brian Myers. So that was good to see as well. So we then move on to match 4. Now, match 4 for me was phenomenal, right? It was a big mark-out moment for me. I wish there was a live crowd for this, because I think if there was a live crowd, I think they'd be going absolutely insane for this. But we saw Beer Guns versus Triple XL. Now, this was a great match. This was this was a fucking good match.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed it. I thought James Storm was absolutely superb in this match. It was classic, old school James Storm at his best. But doesn't he look good?
He looks fantastic.
He is in such good shape.
And you got a big history lesson on his history in Impact Wrestling. I knew he was a successful tag wrestler. I didn't know he's in total 15-time tag team champion.
Oh mate, America's Most Wanted, Beer Money.
Yeah.
Between that 15 tag titles, a world. Obviously, he was the TNA world champion at one point.
King of the Mountain as well.
King of the Mountain. The bottom line is James Storm is an incredibly decorated wrestler for TNA Stroke Impact. When he initially left Impact, I mean, they said it was like a retirement or whatever, but when he initially left Impact, it was a very, very sad moment for me. I'm a huge fan of the Cowboy James Storm, and I'm seeing him return at Bound for Glory, and then obviously turn up again at Turning Point here is just a massive thing for me, and I'm so happy that James Storm is here in Impact Wrestling. Now, I don't know how long it's going to, I'm not sure whether that's his last match. I don't know whether, he's signed a contract or whether he's on a pay-per appearance or what. I don't know. Hopefully, we're going to see him even more down the line. What are your thoughts on James Storm, my friend?
James Storm was one of those guys that got me to keep watching TNA back in 2015. I've pretty much lost the words for what I can say for James Storm without repeating what you said. I think his current situation is a pay per appearance. I think he's going to take the rest of the year off and spend it with his family, because that's one of the reasons why he did drop out of TNA and leave WWE. Well, he didn't go to WWE, he went to NWA. It's one of the reasons why he stopped his NWA and stopped his TNA, was because he needed to spend more time with his family. Well,
one good thing with that though is if you do sign if he did decide to sign back with Impact, they tape once a month.
Yeah.
So you can spend more time with your family as long as he's got a good deal, and I'm sure that if you put James Storm on a 12-month deal, you give him a good pay packet. The guy is one hell of a talent. He's still got a lot in him. It's not like he's burnt out. It's not like he's over the hill. He's in his 40s, but bloody hell, the guy's in fantastic shape.
Quick as anything.
He's fast, he's agile, he's still got it, mate. And when you hear the words, you don't forget, don't leave me hanging, right?
Yeah.
Beer.
Money.
Then you're gonna love life, right?
Oh,
you're gonna love life. And I just think it's great. And I loved I love this little combination with Chris Sabin. When they stood in the middle of the ring, James Storm did the beer, and then Chris Sabin sort of looked and then went, "Guns!" I thought that was great.
That was good.
Yeah, I thought that was great. So we've got beer guns. It was good. And nothing. I'm not going to take anything away from Triple XL either, because I thought Larry, especially Larry D, was incredible in this match. He had some great offense. He really took it. He really took it to James at one point. Chris Sabin took one hell of a beating it as well, from both AC and Larry D. So, who take nothing away from Team Triple XL, because, boy, it was a really good match.
They benefited more from this match, even though they lost. It was another big showcase match to just show what these guys can do.
Yes, exactly. We're building them up. It didn't matter that they lost. It didn't matter they lost, because they're losing to two fantastic veteran wrestlers. They're still in their prime. James Storm, and Chris Sabin are fantastic. You can't, it's no shame in losing to these two guys, right?
Exactly. The Rascals had the same thing with LAX and teams like that. So you don't need to win a match to put yourself over. As long as you deliver in the ring,
that's
fantastic. All that matters.
For me, it was a great match, one of the best matches of the night. It was a great match, and like you say, winners walk away with was beer guns. So yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed that match, and I think I've watched it twice. So I really enjoyed that match. It was a good match. Now moving on, we get to the X Division Championship match, which is Roji versus. Let's face the fact, it was an open challenge, wasn't it? But it turns out to be Roji versus cousin Jake. And again, this was good. Like, this was a really, really good, solid match. Rohit Raju, again proving that he is a really, really good wrestler. Like, he deserves to have the X Division Championship, doesn't he?
He deserves it. He's been he said it himself. He's been overlooked for too long, and he said it as a heel character. He's got a lot of respect for the company in reality, but the way he's really built himself up to make him like, I deserve this. He's backed it up in the ring in every match he's had, and when you got to see him versus cousin Jake, and they know each other quite well from AEW as well. It was just a fantastic match. It's good to see Jake have another solo match, because a lot of people want to see him do a bit more matches on his own as well.
Yeah. He's a good solo wrestler. He is a really, really good solo wrestler. I mean, I don't know if do you keep up to date with the AAW at all? The company Trent works for over in Chicago.
Not as much as I hope to.
Okay,
not at the moment.
Well, he's obviously known as Jake something on the indie circuit, and he's primarily a singles wrestler, and he is fantastic, mate. He's a hoss. He's massive. He's a big, strong motherfucker. And the bottom line is that in there against Rohit, he looked great. Rohit looked great. Obviously, Rohit retains the X Division title, but it was I thought it was a really, really good match. Really good match. I really enjoyed it. And of course, at the end, this is the big sort of kind of the big thing of the night. We get Eric Young coming out with a debuting Joe Doring entered the ring, and they destroyed basically the Deaners, Rohit, etc. They absolutely destroyed them. Eric obviously spouting off that it's their own faults as always. And it's all about them. It's not about it's not about you. It's about us, or whatever it is. That was interesting to see that. So I've not seen Joe. I know a little bit about Joe. I've seen little bits involved. I knew that he'd had a little stint in WWE. I knew that he'd had a little stint in TNA as well several years ago. But I thought I'd do a little bit of research just to check him out a little bit. Just for the listeners, for you guys, for you, Joe, because I'm not sure if you know him. Do you know him at all?
No, I knew he was in TNA, but I didn't see him in WWE.
Yeah.
Well, I can't remember who he was in WWE.
Well, the guy is a 16-year veteran. The guy was trained by Scott D'Amore was one of his trainers. I think you've got Tyson Dux. He's had quite a few really sort of renowned people that's trained this guy. So I'm assuming that the Scott D'Amore connection is how he's now on Impact Wrestling.
Yeah.
He did have a stint with WWE. He's also, his biggest place really was All Japan Pro Wrestling, where I believe he was actually a champion. He was a tag champ as well as their champion, All Japan champion. He was there for 9 years as one of their biggest attractions at All Japan Pro Wrestling. And obviously, I think he was released towards the end of 2019, so he's been around. But I think I don't know whether he's been doing too much on the indies or not. I'm not too sure. I know that he's got something coming up with BCW later in December, which would make sense if he's coming into Impact.
Yeah.
So big dude, right? I mean, I think he's 6'5".
He's huge.
He's got a bit of a retro look about him. Do you think? A bit of a retro look?
Yeah, he reminds me a bit of Nick Aldis, but in a much more positive way. He's got like the same height and the same build almost as well. I've seen him now since he's gone to NWA. He's a lot bigger. But when he was in Impact Wrestling, he wasn't huge, but he was strong. And
I almost compared him to JBL.
Yeah.
He's a little bit like JBL. He's got the whole cowboy hat. He wears his jeans and the cowboy boots. He's a big, strong dude. Big height. But he's got this strange moustache, which is very 80s styly. But it's interesting to see how that one pans out. Joe, he also reminded me a bit of Samuel Shaw. Do you remember when Samuel Shaw had that little moustache? I was doing the whole sort of kind of Dexter crazy psychopath character at the time. He reminded me a bit of him as well. But he's one big dude, and he's going to be a wrecking machine. So I think what they're implying is that when Eric Young talks about it belongs to us.
Yeah, that's it. That's his part. I
think that's who he's referring to.
Yeah. So that's our dream team of Sami Callihan and Eric Young and Ken Shamrock out the window.
Yeah, sadly. But it doesn't mean to say that they don't come together.
Yeah.
Who knows? But so that was interesting to see. The only thing I don't like about it is again, it's the Deaners getting a bounding. They always seem to be the ones that end up getting a beating for no reason, or for somebody to come in and prove a point. It was Eric Young, wasn't it? He did it to them the first time, and now he's coming out doing it with Joe. So interesting. Although maybe that's building into some sort of storyline where the Deaners are like pissed off.
Oh yeah.
Like why the fuck is he picking on us? Like, you know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting to see how that all sort of pans out as well. But so we've got ourselves a debut. I mean, over the last few months they've been coming thick and fast, haven't they? The debuts.
It's good to see.
Yeah, they're freshening up the roster. But what I'm really liking, and I'm going to say this, and you'll notice this, the main event of Turning Point was 2 Impact wrestlers that have been on the roster for the past 2-3 years.
Yeah, that was good. They
didn't
great
stick.
To see.
They didn't turn the Good Brothers, the North, for instance. They didn't put that. That wasn't the main event. I mean, that was sort of kind of like that was even before the Knockouts one. So that they're elevating again. They're elevating the Knockouts title by putting it as under the men's world title. Then you've got the tag title match. So it's interesting. they're really starting to make it known that yes, they're bringing people in, but they're not necessarily going to be taking the spotlight.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's good to see that they're proper, giving it to the Impact roster, which is great. Okay, we then move on, which I wasn't sure to begin with because I don't think it was billed as this, but it turned out to be a TNA World Championship match, which was Moose versus Willie Mack. Now, I like this new Moose. This new Moose is a badass, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he is unrelenting. He's controlling his narrative. He's got a nasty streak, and he's out to hurt people, isn't he?
His EC3 finally brought out the Moose that everyone's wanted.
Yeah, I mean, and he's looking thick as well, isn't he?
He's looking massive.
He's really built. He's really built on the muscle. He's thick up top. His biceps are huge. So over the last year, he's proper jacked up, isn't he?
Yeah. I think he's going to put Scott Steiner to shame the way he's building himself.
He's a big, strong dude. His shoulders are massive. He's just a big dude. Well, you can see him behind you right now. I mean, he's a one big dude. That's for sure. Now, this really, for me, was a bit of a shame for Willie, really, because it's sort of Willie got in some good offense. The problem I find with Willie is he gets in a load of offense. He gets people in this sort of kind of, pinning position, and then he stops.
Yeah.
And then he stops, which is then always his downfall because it gives their opponent time to sort of kind of recover and come back at him. This is good storytelling in the ring. We know that. But it's what's failing Willie at the moment because he keeps doing it. And so even when he got that good offense in the match and he was looking really, really strong, he couldn't capitalize on it. And then, of course, Moose comes back, lays down the beatdown. Willie Mack gets the win via a DQ.
Yeah, this is after Moose knocked him out completely, and so Moose won the match by technical knockout. And then because he then started to attack Willie Mack and then he lost the match.
That's it. You've got it.
The decision got reversed, but Moose didn't care. Moose was just up there to hurt Willie Mack, and that's exactly what he did. And he's sent a message to Rich Swann. His catchphrase all the way through the match was, this is what pain feels like, Rich. Yeah.
Everything was geared towards Rich. So I think we could definitely say that, fairly soon, somewhere along the line, maybe at Hard to Kill, we're going to see Rich Swann versus Moose for that world title, possibly. Maybe at the next Impact Plus special next month, maybe. I don't know, but I think it could be a Hard to Kill match. But we'll have to see. I think at the end of the day, Moose is looking good. He's looking strong. He's looking mean, and he's out to hurt.
Yeah, I think the best place to have the match would be at Hard to Kill. Make that the main event, and have him go through Sami Callihan and Eric Young along the way, just to knock, and Eddie Edwards, to knock them all out the picture, and to really Moose went for all the TNA guys and really got nothing for it. So have him go through all the top stars now of Eric Young, Sami Callihan, and Eddie Edwards. Have him go through all them and the build up to Hard to Kill.
Yeah.
Or throw all five of them into one match, which would be good too. But I think they're the 5-way back at Slammiversary, so either a triple threat or a one-on-one match with Moose and Rich Swann, and like Moose and Sami Callihan or Eddie Edwards or someone, just to but Moose and Rich Swann is going to be the big match to start the year next year. Yeah.
I think so too. But I think we could see Moose become the Impact World Champion at Hard to Kill.
Yeah, it's going. When Moose wins the title, he's going to unite the two titles and have the biggest title in the company.
Yeah, without doubt. I think, who knows, we might even see a brand spanking new made title or something, where they combine the style of the TNA world title and obviously the new world title that we've got for Impact. I still believe that TNA belt, that TNA world title belt is smashing. It looks amazing, doesn't it?
It looks good around Moose.
It does look good around Moose because it's big.
Yeah.
It's a big belt around a big guy. If you put that belt on Rich Swann, he'd probably drown in it. But it'd be interesting to see that. I think that will be a hell of a match. I mean, you've got a big agile dude versus a very fast, athletic guy in Rich Swann. I think that could be a hell of a match. Hell of a match, without doubt. Okay, so as we said, Willie Mack ends up with, Moose wins the match. It then gets reversed, and Willie Mack walks away with it as the winner via DQ. But because it was a DQ, that means that Moose obviously retains his title, walks away with his title. So, yeah, that makes sense. I think that's right. Yeah?
Moose kept his belt regardless of the decision. He won, then he got the decision reversed. But either way, he still walked out with champion.
Yeah.
That's all that matters to him.
That's all that matters.
He's got the belt and he's sent the message. Job done.
Yeah, without doubt. Okay, so moving on to the last, the big three matches we've got coming up now. For me, it's almost like you've got three main events going on here. So we're going on to the World Tag Team Championship. That is obviously the North, the champions, versus the Good Brothers. Yeah, baby. Big fan of the Good Brothers. Check out my interview I did on Bison Talks Impact only a couple of weeks ago. Well worth a look. Now, it's interesting. This is an interesting match because it was very even.
Very, very even for quite a long time.
Yes, it was very even for quite a long time. And all the way to the end, I was still not sure. I was still not sure who was going to walk away the winner. I really, really wasn't. And I was thinking, oh my God, I'm not going to get these bragging rights at this rate. It was a hell of a match, wasn't it? I mean, Ethan looked great, didn't he?
Ethan Page is one of probably the most over guy in the whole match. He was
great.
Yeah.
He was absolutely superb. And I'll tell you what, I thought Carl Anderson again had a fantastic match too. What do you think about Carl Anderson?
Yeah, Carl Anderson proved that he's no joke. He was the smallest guy in the ring, and people don't give him enough credit for where credit is due. But he took a massive beating from Ethan Page and Josh Alexander, and he pulled off some pretty impressive moves on both of them.
What's interesting is when the big LG comes in. I'm a massive mark for the big LG, right? Doc Gallows is my brother, man. He's the man, and I think he's an amazing guy, and his character is fantastic. So out of the two, I'm a big, Doc Gallows mark, right?
Yeah.
However, I do like Carl too. I do like Carl, but he's definitely a strong wrestler, isn't he? Carl Anderson, for me, is a great wrestler, isn't he?
He's a very, very talented wrestler. He's the brain. He's the brains, and Doc Gallows is the brawn.
Oh, without doubt. But when Doc comes in, it's just bodies everywhere, isn't it? Yeah, bodies flying everywhere.
You want to run out the ring. It's like when you had Madman Fulton come into the ring. You just run for a little while and then regroup rather than try and charge it in the face and head on.
Exactly. It's just incredible. And I'll tell you what his legs. I mean, I think the guy's nearly 7 foot or something crazy. He's like 6'7" or something.
Yeah.
I think 5 foot of that is his legs.
His arms and his legs are massive. Josh Matthews was commenting on it. He could stand back about 2 foot back from someone and hit lamp you from in the corner, and you'd have no way to get out of there.
Yeah, like when he gets you in the corner and he starts throwing those uppercuts and those crosses and all that, he stands right back and you just see this massive arm, and he he throws them so well. They really look like they are connecting, don't they? They're like so good. It's one of the best things that he does when he gets them in the ring and he starts throwing those hooks and crosses. And like you say, his arms are massive. I mean, he's almost dragging them on the floor like a silverback, isn't he? I mean, that's what he is. The guy is a silverback, isn't he? Let's face it, he's a silverback gorilla. He's a massive, massive dude. And I, once he gets in the ring, it's almost game over, isn't it?
Oh yeah. He's just so good.
He's like a one-man wrecking machine.
Yeah.
Isn't he? That's what he is. He's a one-man wrecking machine. He's got a fantastic beard. And he's just all-round top man. Top man. Got a lot of time for him. So we walk out on this one. Now, we walk out on this one with the Good Brothers becoming the new tag team champs. Now, where does this leave the North, Joe? Where do you think this leaves the North?
I think this is the end of Ethan. It throws Ethan Page's future up in the air for me. I think this is the beginning of the end, sadly.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I do. I've got this horrible gut feeling that this is Ethan Page is going to be gone at the end of the year, and Josh Alexander is going to go solo, which is going to be good to see. But the next big threat to the Good Brothers then would be Ace Austin and Madman Fulton probably, and it'd be good to see them come back after next year and have another good go at them. But
I know that Ace and Fulton are doing some stuff on the Indies at the moment, building themselves as a tag team. But I also believe that I think the reason that Ace is missing a little bit is because I believe he's doing something for TV, maybe a film or something. He's doing something.
Yeah, I know that they're booked in other places right through to the end of December now, so they'll be back next year.
I can't wait. I can't wait for their return. It'll be big. It'll be big, their return. I think maybe it will be something like maybe it'll be Ace and Fulton that'll be chasing the Good Brothers for the title at Hard to Kill. Maybe it'd be interesting to see how that one pans out. This past week on Impact, we had Ethan Page going to Scott D'Amore, demanding that he gets some kind of retribution with regards to the tag titles.
Yeah.
And this is where we started to see references to the Phenomenal One, and Uncle Alan was mentioned. I think this is a tease. I just can't see how AJ Styles is going to turn up on Impact next week. I just can't see this happening. He's WWE talent. He's signed to WWE. Unless this is his way of getting out of his contract, I don't know. But to be fair, all he has to do is carry on Twitch. That'll do the job. But to me, it just seemed. I don't know. There was really, really big hints that we were going to see Ethan Page versus the Phenomenal One next week. And if Ethan beats the Phenomenal One next week, then we're going to see a North versus a Good Brothers rematch for the tag team titles. So where do we think this one's leading? I don't know. I can't.
It's hard. It's hard.
Happening. Yeah. It's not. There's no way AJ Styles is going to turn up next week on Impact Wrestling. That's crazy. Is it going to be one of their goons? Is it going to be a Talking Shop-A-Mania character that they're creating? I don't know. What do you think?
Now that you've mentioned that it could be a Talking Shop character, it seems a lot more viable. And if you guys have seen Ethan Page's recent vlog on his contract status, you see the Karate Man make an appearance there. So something's happening there, even if that was just meant to be a joke to get everyone going. They have me in stitches.
I just don't know where it's going. I mean, to continue, I don't know. I'm not sure. Teasing AJ Styles, for me, is a right way to go, because that's not going to happen. He is contracted to WWE. Right, it's not going to happen, and that it's a little bit unfair, I think, to tease AJ Styles on the Impact fan base, knowing that he is one hell of a beloved wrestler from this nostalgic TNA days. But who knows? I mean, we know that Uncle Alan is very good friends with the Good Brothers. I think it would, in the future, if there was ever an opportunity for him to come, I think he will now. I think the chance of it happening are certainly, gone from, 0 to maybe at least 50%. There's a 50-50 chance it could happen now. So, so I don't know. I don't know where it's going to go, but it was a good match. Good brothers won. And, they are now carrying the flag for the tag team division on Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, I was just disappointed to see the North lose. I must admit, last week I agree with you last week that the Good Brothers are most likely going to win, but you get the bragging rights to that because as much as I expected them to win, I did want the North to win. So you got the bragging rights on this match. I can see the smile on your face already.
That's the difference between me and you, my brother. I think about it in the head. I don't go with the heart. I go with the head. I think what's going to be, what would be the best route. What would I expect Impact to do?
I expected the Good Brothers to win, but even though I said the Good Brothers are most likely going to win, I wanted the North. I think it was a bit too soon to have the titles taken off of them. I could have seen it go to Hard to Kill and then them lose there. It would have been a bit better.
Champs, mate. Good Brothers are the champs. That's it. Nothing else could be said. Good Brothers, tag team champs. Exactly what I said was going to happen. Bragging rights, baby. Anyway, moving on.
The listeners are glad they can't see the vein on my forehead.
So moving on, my friend. We ended up with the obviously the Knockouts Championship match, which is obviously Su Yung, the champion, versus Giana Perazo. This was a no DQ match. We expected it to go a little bit crazy. This is certainly in the realms of Su Yung, and it did not disappoint. I watched this match 3 times. It doesn't disappoint. It's a great match. We got lots of weapons. We got some great selling. We got some good wrestling. Inside, outside the ring. I think it was a great match. Your thoughts?
It was match of the night for me. And Giana Perazo really, really showed that she's more than just a technical wrestler. She's a technical savage.
She's definitely a savage. There's no doubt about that. It was a savage.
Great to see how quickly she just went from I'll do this my way to we'll do this your way, Sue. She goes flying around the ring, grabbing anything, chairs, a baking tray, and she just battered the crap out of Su Yung for ages.
What did you think of the canvas spot?
That was brilliant.
I thought that was great. And do you know what? As soon as they'd done it, I was like, oh, that's going to go on the eBay shop.
Yeah.
Straight away, I was like, that's going to go on the eBay shop. You got the canvas covered in mist. And it did. It's on there. It's on the eBay shop now. I think it's getting close to £200 or something.
Yeah, it's signed by Giana Perazo and Su Yung as well. So.
And the ref. As well, it's signed by all 3, and it's got the authentication sticker on it and everything. I think it's like nearly $200 or something for that in the moment. Even or is it 300? It might be $300 actually. I think it's the baking tray that's almost $200 now as well. Again, that's all signed. Like, oh, incredible. So I mean, like I say, we had the baking tray spot, we had the canvas spot, which I thought was innovative. It was different. It was good. I mean, we just had chairs. We had everything, didn't we?
The best thing about the canvas was Giana Perazo always portrays herself as an artist.
Yes,
so it was a great swerve towards her character, and she pulled off that pulling power driver, which we'd not seen before as well. That was a new finisher, which I wasn't expecting to see from her.
Oh, it was a great match, wasn't it, Joe? It was a great match. I think I got to be honest with you. Like, if I ever said to somebody, look, the Knockouts division on Impact Wrestling is the best in the world, and if you don't believe me, go and watch this match. Right? Yeah. There's 3 matches. One of them would be this one that we just saw. It was a good match, really, really good match. The other one would be the Giana Perazo and Jordan Grace Iron Woman or Iron Man match, which I thought was incredibly good too. And I think the other one would probably be the Monsters Ball match.
Yeah, the 4-way Monsters Ball.
Yeah. That was incredible, wasn't it?
That was fantastic. That was one that I had sticking in my mind as you were running down the matches. And another one was a bit further back. It was Jade versus Rosemary in that steel cage match.
Yeah, that was awesome as well.
That was one of my favourites.
Yeah. So let's face the facts. I think the Impact are giving the women's knockouts division the respect, the TV time that it deserves. It's second on the cards to the main event. Turning point. They seem to be doing that all the time now. The women's championship is at the top of the card. In the top 3 without doubt. And I think that is where it deserves to be as well, because these women, they leave it all in the ring every single time, don't they?
They go flat out.
They give it their all.
Yeah, but they work at least 3 to 5 different promotions as well. They don't just stick with Impact Wrestling. Their schedule is a lot more busier than some of the men on the roster. They really, really do get themselves out as much into as much place as possible to get that recognition they deserve.
They have done, yeah. I mean, obviously at the moment they're only really doing Impact, aren't they?
Yeah. Which
is interesting, because I think we might see. I think they're starting to turn up on a few others now, but prior to the pandemic, you're right. I mean, they're all over the place. But what I think we're starting to see now, and I think it's going to be interesting how this all pans out, is it's going to start being that primarily we're only going to see them on Impact Wrestling. We'll start seeing them. They may, you'll see them at like BCW.
Yeah.
You'll see them turn up. Maybe AAW, slightly. You'll see them turn up at the bigger indies.
Yeah.
Maybe Warrior is another one, but I don't think we're going to see them at the smaller indies. And
not as much.
Not as much. I think it's going to be the bigger indie promotions now, moving forward. And keeping the talent safe. What I was over the moon to see was prior to Bound for Glory, the talents were sort of, shying away from some of the indie shows to make sure that they were in a good position to be at Bound for Glory. They're recognizing that, Impact Wrestling is their number one promotion. That is where they're making their money. That's where they're, they are showcasing their talents, the most. And it's important for them to make sure that they are, in as good a shape as possible. I mean, that's something else we've seen over the last sort of 12 months or so as well, is that all of the roster are getting in incredible shape.
Yeah,
it's not just Ethan. I mean, Ethan is the big one because he's proper gone for it. But Moose is looking stacked. Chris Bay is absolutely ripped.
Rohit
Raju looks incredible. Jake something looks incredible. Some of the more traditionally sort of chubbier wrestlers, or they're also toning up as well.
Yeah.
So it's I mean, you've got the likes of the Triple XL boys, slimming down, trimming the fat, as it were. Falaba is trimmed down. They're really taking their craft super seriously at Impact Wrestling, and I think that just goes to show how much these guys are really caring about how they look on Impact Wrestling, right?
Oh, it's just it's a good. No, I've lost the words. No.
Joe, it's gone over an hour, mate. You're starting to lose it. You're heading back into the void.
Oh, yeah.
Space. What's going on? Oh, dear. Anyway, moving on. That was an incredible match, and we walk away with Giana Perazo, the new Knockouts champ. So she's now 2-time Knockouts champ. I think she's been with the company now, 6 months or so, I guess. In the 6 months, she's now held the Knockouts title twice. And she's held it through pure wrestling, and she's now held it through a kind of hardcore style too. She said, "Look, it doesn't matter how we do this. I'm going to win.
Yeah.
I'm the best." And I think that showed in that match. It was incredible. I don't think this is the last that we're going to see of Sue. She's going to be coming for that title again, I'm sure. She's not going to take it lying down. She's not going to take it lying down.
She's got a rematch clause.
Oh yeah, well, A, she's got a rematch clause, and B, she's just not going to lay down, is she?
I hope they build this up to Hard to Kill.
I mean, it could be phenomenal Hard to Kill match. You never know. What I do know is that I want to see more of Su Yung versus Giana Perazo.
So do I.
Good.
I was disappointed that Su Yung lost, because we both had Su Yung walking out the winner, but I was really disappointed that Su Yung had lost. If the title was going to change hands, I was hoping it would have been a Hard to Kill.
Yeah.
Because Giana Perazo just went absolutely batshit insane in that match, and Joe. She had Su Yung knocked out on the chair, and then Su Yung comes back up from the dead, and I was thinking, why isn't the referee stopping the match? Because he stopped it with Willie Mack and Moose. So I thought Su Yung was gone. I thought she was knocked out then, and then Then it was like, oh yeah, she's just selling it perfectly. But
it was an incredible match. I all I can say on this one was that like I said, if you want to check out how good the Impact Knockouts roster is, just check out what these matches. They're fantastic. They are fantastic matches, and for me, it could have main evented. That match could have main evented easily.
Yeah,
easily. Okay, so moving on to the match of the night, the main event was the World Championship match. Rich Swann, the champion, versus the diabolical Sami Callihan. And as we all know, I'm a big fan of Sami. So, I got to be honest. I was, with my head, I was going with Rich Swann, but with my heart, I wanted to see Sami win because I want to see a nice title run for Sami. I think he deserves it. It'd be nice to see a decent title run for Sami. His first one, obviously, was too short, and was sort of kind of set up to give the title to the lady we won't mention. I just think that sometime in the future we need to see Sami Callihan holding that title aloft. Do you agree?
I do agree, and Sami Callihan has said for a long time he's not in the company to win titles. He's in the company to put on a good show.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what Sami Callihan's been doing. But I do want to see him as world champion again. He does deserve it. After he's been there for just over 3 years now, I think. When he won it from Brian Cage, I was absolutely over the moon.
Yeah, I agree.
He does deserve another title run, and he can do it on his own.
Yeah,
a lot better than he could do with a faction, I think, as well. He could make it his own a lot more.
Yeah, the thing is with Sami though, is I think he enjoys working with others.
Yeah,
he's not alone, is he? He's not a loner.
No,
that whole ICU thing. I didn't think worked for Sami because he was on his own. Like, not in a sense of like, he can't work on his own, but I just think he prefers to work with others. I think he has to be that sort of kind of leader, doesn't he?
Yeah, he portrays himself as a loner, but then he's always got something up his sleeve.
I agree. So let's get into this match, my brother. I thought it was a great match. For me, it was definitely match of the night. I thought it was a great match. I thought the story that was told was amazing. I just felt, I felt that Sami, for me, plays this sort of kind of like he sells really well, doesn't he?
Yes.
Like, you honestly believe that when he's sort of kind of like, he really is, he's down and out. He gets the phenomenal hit kicks, or he gets a couple of punches, or whatever happens, and he proper sells it, doesn't he? He proper sells it. And I think that's what makes Sami stand out as a performer, that he's able to tell that story in the ring, and it doesn't matter who he's in with. Rich can do the same thing. Rich is a great storyteller in the ring, and this is the thing for me. The thing that Rich lacks, I think, is his promo ability. I don't think he's a good talker. I think he's okay, but I don't think he's a phenomenal talker. Sami is a complete, he is
the full package.
He's the full package, right? He can sell. He can attack. He's an amazing offense, and he's amazing. He can tell a story in the ring, and he's amazing on the mic. He's great at doing promos. I mean, as far as I'm aware, a lot of the promo stuff that he does, when it's just him or whatever, he does all that himself. He produces it, he adds effects to it, he does all of that shit himself. So, and I think that is the extra that you get with Sami Callihan, isn't it? With a Rich Swann, I think Rich needs to be produced. He needs to be kind of, he needs to be charactered, if you know what I mean. He needs to be written for to a degree.
Yeah.
Whereas Sami, you could sort of kind of let go. You could give him a ball and say, well, this is kind of what we're doing. Off you go, son. And this is the outcome. This is where we need to be. This is what we're looking for. Can you just run with that, please? And he'll go and he'll run with it. He'll write his own stuff. He'll do his own promos, and he'll just be him. I don't think Rich has that ability. And that's where I think Sami sort of kind of stands above Rich, really. I think when it comes to in-ring ability, though, Rich is phenomenal in the ring, isn't he?
Rich Swann is one of my favorite wrestlers. I was so happy when he came into Impact Wrestling, and he's not disappointed. Not disappointed at all.
Not at all. I think every single match that I've seen him in, I've always thought, wow, this guy is amazing.
The guys he's been up against, he's been Brian Cage, Michael Elgin. Those guys beat the crap out of him, and he still kept on going. And
he's got heart, hasn't he?
He's got so much heart, and he's got so much endurance for a guy you wouldn't expect to have that stability.
He's like a lion heart, isn't he? He's like, if he was English, he'd be the lion heart, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there already is an English wrestler which takes that mantle, the Lionheart. But he's definitely a Lionheart. That's for sure. This was a great match, and I really, really enjoyed it. And the thing, it went on quite long. Well, it was about half an hour, wasn't it?
It was just about a good 20-25 minutes. And one of the great things was when they kicked it off, they showed all the promos beforehand from when Rich Swann had his original rivalry with Sami Callihan, to remind everyone that these two do have a long history together.
Yeah, they do.
Because it was something that people did tend to forget. Yeah,
I mean, Sami Callihan kept mentioning, obviously, the death of Rich's parents, and that he took him in, and all that kind of stuff. And I, sometimes I think maybe going a little bit far, but, I mean, it worked. It built it up. There's clearly sort of kind of like a personal thing there. You've got to have that personal element in there to create the sort of kind of, to create the match, really. It can't just be about the championship. There's got to be a little bit more to it. There's got to be a reason for wanting to kill, beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
But I think that it was a great match. I was over the moon with it. I was happy to see Rich Swann win. But I still think that at some point we need to see Sami Callihan with that title around his waist.
Exactly. I knew Rich Swann was going to win. I'm just glad the match wasn't flat. The match was back and forth, and for just a great entertaining match to watch.
Without doubt.
Match of the night for me was still gone. It was still gone to Giana, Perazo and Su Yung, because of the massive shocking finish. I didn't expect Giana, Perazo to win, and the match itself was just so great to watch. But Rich Swann and Sami Callihan to follow that on, they did a great job.
They did a great job, without doubt. So that is basically, that is Turning Point, guys. I thought it was a fantastic Impact Plus special. Basically ever since Victory Road, they've sort of stepped the gear up. I think they've continued that. I think this show was not quite as good, but it was certainly very good. So Victory Road was great. Turning Point was great. It's going to be interesting to see how all the storylines now progress from here over the next few weeks into the next Impact Plus special, and then obviously Hard to Kill in January. Any final thoughts on Turning Point, Joe?
All I can say is well done, guys. Well done.
You enjoyed it, yeah?
Yeah.
Good. Good. That's all we can do. Okay, so that's been our review of Impacted, guys. Just one other thing. If you've not yet managed to purchase one of our fantastic Impacted T-shirts, which are currently available from ProWrestlingTees.com, and as you can see that on the screen right now, by the way, this full web address. Yeah, the full web address is right there. But this week, they're actually offering 40 to 20% discounts on the Pro Wrestling Tees website up until the end of Black Friday, which is, this should be going out on Friday, so till the end of play today. So don't forget, get in there, get your Impacted T-shirt. Check out all the other TNI T-shirts as well, because we've got a couple of others in there as well. So don't forget to buy your T-shirt. Don't forget, TNI UK is also available not only on YouTube, but also on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And, like I said before, don't forget, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. That's really, really important. We need a thumbs up because that gets us on all the different timelines of everybody that gets on YouTube that likes Impact Wrestling. They need to see that. So give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to drop us in a comment about any of the stuff that we've been talking about today. You might want to give us some comments about the tag team tournament coming up. You might want to talk about the Rascals. You might want to talk about any of the matches at Turning Point. You might want to just give your opinion on what you thought about the show. Just leave us a comment. We love reading all your comments. And of course, don't forget to sub the channel. No, smash the bell to never miss any of the fresh Impact content, which is coming out each and every single week. So that's about it. That's about it for today, really. Do you want to plug your socials, Joe?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at J-O-K empty space. If you want to find me on Facebook, jump into a few Impact groups, look for the hashtag empty space, the void. You'll probably find me around there somewhere. Same thing with the Instagram. You'll find me there. Look for the void.
Empty space.
Empty space. You'll probably find me there somewhere. But best place to get me will be Twitter or Facebook.
No worries. Okay. And if you're interested in following the Bison, I'm trying to hit 1,000 follows by November. I think I'm at something like 925 at the moment. So if by the end of November, by the 1st of December, we can hit 1,000 follows, I'd like 1,000 pound. That'd be lovely. Get me 1,000 pound at the end of the month. That'd be great. If we hit 1,000 follows, do you know what? I might just send a lucky fan an Impacted T-shirt. We'll have to wait and see.
Everyone gets a Bison lick.
Hey, exactly. Everyone gets a Bison lick. Follow the Bison, you get a lick. End of story. And if you want to find out, if you're not sure what that is, and you want to find out what it is, follow the Bison at Lord Bison 45 on Twitter, and you'll find out. Right, that's about it. I think that's about all we have time for today, unfortunately. So it's a goodbye from me, the Bison, and it's a goodbye from him.
Heading back down to the empty space.
And the Joker. This has been episode 9 of Impacted.